I don't know about you guys, but that was really, really bugging me. Welcome back to Rebuild Rescue. We're gonna get this 401 moving under its own power. Well, I hope we're gonna get this 401 moving under its own power. We have some tires to put on. We gotta get the suspension filled up, get the air back in the struts, nitrogen back in the struts. So it sounds like we have pterodactyls in the hangar today. We may get interrupted now and again. Where was I? We're gonna put on 3 new tires. We're gonna get the struts filled with nitrogen. We're gonna get the cowlings on. We're gonna fix the brakes. And we're going outside. We're gonna taxi it around. We're gonna see if the 401 will move under its own power. There's also something I wanted to talk about. I noticed some of you guys commented about selling the 401 or raffling it off or something. I think because of something I said in our last project update. We're not selling the 401. In fact, nobody could get this 401 from us. This is our project. This is your project. I will not do that. We are not selling this. This is going to be part of Rebuild Rescue for a very, very long time. So apologize if I threw any of you guys off through my excitement and explaining what we are doing with the 401. The 401 is always going to be a part of Rebuild Rescue, and all the projects that we are selling are actually going to be sold and go towards the 401 and go towards flying it and go towards what we're doing for the community. But she's always going to be right here, and nobody else can have her. Precious. Anyway, so let's get at it. All right, so now we got to get inside the cockpit, and I'm going to have to figure out a way for me to get in the cockpit and get to the master cylinders. See if we can't check the fluid in them, because there is no brakes in here. I don't know if the master cylinders are bad, or if it's low in fluid, or if the caliper is bad. It could have had a slow leak considering how long it sat unused out there on the ramp. So on these Cessnas, only 2 master cylinders. A lot of airplanes will have 4 master cylinders. This has 2, and then these brakes also get actuated by the other set of pedals over there. So nice thing is then that only gives us 2 master cylinders that we have to worry about rebuilding and bleeding and stuff like that. So these master cylinders actually have the reservoir built right into them. So that's actually kind of pretty cool too. So if you move this, take this cap off of here, you can see if there's fluid in there and you can fill them up. So as far as I can tell, the brakes and all the components down here seem to be in pretty good operating condition. I'll have to check the steering components for the front tire from these pedals, because it is directly connected to the rudder. The rudder is moving the way it should, but we've got to be careful and make sure that there's not something disconnected up in the front wheel. We'll grab a brake bleeder setup, and we're going to bleed these brakes a little differently than you guys might be used to. If you've ever bled a car, you bleed it from the master cylinder down. So we're going to do it a little bit different. In an airplane, it's a little bit easier to actually bleed from the calipers up. And the reservoir is built right into the brake master cylinder on these. My hopes are, is that we are able to bleed it up and it does hold pressure. Chances are we are going to have to rebuild these master cylinders, but I think it's worth a shot. So one of the things that I'm discovering truly working on this 401 for the first time since the accident is how difficult it is to do things when you can't use this leg. I mean, just getting in and out of there would usually take me a minute, maybe 30 seconds. But now it's a few minutes, so it does make me a lot slower. It is a little painful, so I can't wait until this is all healed up. The doctor actually said that I can put weight on it in about a week, but I think I just put weight on it that whole time here and there. So yeah, I really did want to thank you guys for being patient, because it is it is gonna take me a while. I do have some help showing up later on. Actually, there's a big surprise showing up later on that you guys are really gonna wanna see, so stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna bleed the brakes from the calipers up to the master cylinders. However, I don't have my brake bleeder here, so I gotta run out and pick up a new one. But meanwhile, we did get some parts. So let's head over to Cage and let's check out the parts that we got. Oh. So it looks like we did order 3 tires, and this thing is really heavy for an airplane tire. We did order 3 tires. It looks like so far we have 1 tire. Hopefully the other tires come in either today or tomorrow. 3 tubes. I know this will bring some of you that have been watching the channel a lot of joy. In this box is a real airplane battery, so we can stop using 12-volt car batteries with jumper wires. Hopefully it's the right battery. And this has to be one of the heaviest little batteries that I've ever felt. I don't know what this weighs, but it's like a lead weight. Well, I think it is lead, but anyway. It's not a 1/2 inch, 7/16. I can tell I'm out of practice. I haven't wrenched in a couple weeks and I'm already forgetting what size is what wrench. Usually I can look at a nut or a bolt and literally know which one it is, and I can't believe I just got it wrong. This is the bolt that the original bolt that held the battery in. It's also the bolt that we had the jumper cables hooked up to. And I noticed it does have a good amount of corrosion on it. That probably wasn't helping us get good voltage, even from the jumper packs and having that many amps. It'll be good to get this cleaned up. Might have to see if there's an access with this cover to get in the backside and make sure all the connections are clean as well. One of the things to keep in mind is as we restore it, like literally every single one of these cables, every single one of these lines, all the wires, they're all gonna get inspected, they're all gonna get replaced. My thought is I'd rather just run all new wires because we're gonna take these wings off the airplane. Pretty sure right now, talking to some of the other mechanics who are going to be working on it with us, we'll end up pulling the engines off, we'll pull them out, we'll send them out. I believe we'll pull the wings off because we're going to replace all that stuff anyway, and we want to thoroughly inspect every single inch of this. So I think the wings will come off and we'll put them on a trailer, and they're going to get sent off to a place to get the wing spar straps done. And that's the big airworthiness directive that was released by the FAA that grounded this airplane. It's like a $70,000 job. It's 500 hours. 500 hours of dissecting 2 wings and putting these long aluminum, and they're kind of like a strengthener, right up to where the engine, all the engine supports and everything go. So when we do that, you guys are gonna get to see, we're gonna tear this thing apart. Just gotta use my newest and most favorite lubricant, Aerocroil. This stuff is awesome. The one thing I learned from this, from doing the right engine, don't use too much. It's like, so this stuff is so good, you actually use a little bit. So I had to get used to it, but it does really smell good. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's like lubricant that smells good, good stuff.
All right, so we got all the connectors all cleaned off, all the corrosion off of them. Again, we are gonna check the backside of those connectors and all the wiring, but it's a pivotal moment in the life of the 401 Phoenix. I've held out from doing this. These things are so expensive. It's a $1,000 battery, $1,000. But I guess a battery that keeps you up in the air and flying should be an expensive battery. Hey. So that has to be about the snuggest fitting battery that, I mean, it's not going anywhere, that's for sure. So because we haven't gone over the full electrical system yet, I'm not going to hook up the ground. I'm just gonna hook up the positive for now. Before we fire it up, obviously I will hook up the ground, but you know, before we can check over, the last thing I want is to hook up electrical power to this and then leave the hangar later on and then come back to charred remains of a 401. So we'll leave that loose until we go to start it up. You know, one of the coolest things about working on the 401 is every time I work on this airplane and we get something else done, even if it's like as small as the battery, when I'm like tightening this battery down, I can feel myself getting more and more excited. I can feel myself like wanting to smile. It'll be really cool to do a run up. It'll be really cool to, you know, see how much those engines pull. I mean, they're turbocharged 520 cubic inch engines on 100 octane fuel. And you can tell, clean, not clean. It actually blows me away because I look at this cover, I look at this wing, and I see this is what it looked like a few months ago when it was just an airplane that I used to fly over the top of when I was taking lessons.
So they're telling me about this airplane and I'm like, I gotta see it. That just sounds like something that I'd love to see, love to mess with. The engines are locked up. It's been here forever. It hasn't ran.
You know, and I just wanted to do a video on it because it was the coolest thing ever. And here we are a couple months later.
Clear prop.
We have like 500,000 subscribers. 500,000 of you decided that you're gonna join us on this adventure and other adventures. I owe that to all of you guys, but, you know, and my cameraman and everybody else that helps the Rebuild Rescue. You know, so it starts off as someone having an idea, but what makes it grow is you guys. What makes it grow is your excitement. What makes it grow is the fact that you guys got into the GoFundMe and you blew it out of the water. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to afford to do this. Like, none of us would, actually. But together, we can do it, you know, and together, we're gonna do other really cool things, you know, and I've mentioned this a million times, and I hope you guys don't get tired of hearing it, but that's what Rebuild Rescue charities are about. You know, together, we're gonna do some really cool things. So just me getting a battery in the 401 gets me that excited. So, awesome. All right, guys, so we're back here in the hangar of day 2. I really feel like we didn't get a lot of stuff done. It's just so hard for me to get stuff done. I'm actually really slow. So, but we did get the brake master cylinders checked out. We got those ready to add fluid to the brakes. We're gonna get that front tire mounted. We'll get the struts filled up. We're gonna get the brakes backfed because I did get a chance to go get a new bleeder tool. This is really cool. So we'll get those bled back. Also had a viewer reach out a few days ago that's gonna be flying down here in some warbirds with his buddy. So they should be here soon. So I'm like really excited to check that out. So I think we'll first start off with this front strut, see if we can't get some nitrogen in it. So I think these hold about 750 PSI of nitrogen, you know, for the suspension pressure. But I've been told when they've been left unfilled for so long, it could take 1,500 pounds just to get it to come up off its seat, which is a little scary if you ask me, but we'll see how much pressure it'll hold, see what it takes to get it back up in the air again.
All right, let's see what this thing does. Figure out where it's losing pressure from. So the strut went up with, surprisingly, with a lot less pressure than what I thought it would take, because a lot of guys would say you get to go like above 1,000 just to get them to unstick, but at about 300 PSI, this started going on. I think in the book, I think it said it was like a 750 PSI strut. I knew that was going to happen. I don't know if I have this turned down too much or what the deal is. Something I was kind of forgetting about, though, is wanting to put a tire on this. It's better for this to be uninflated when I put a tire on it, because you don't have to jack it up as high. I'm really happy it figured out how to make it work. I mean, I can let it down easy, and I can fill it up easy. It'll at least hold for a day. I mean, it's definitely a leaky strut. It's gonna leak down, but it's holding for a bit. The guys are almost here in the Warbirds. Let's get up here by the runway and check this out. I'm all right. Yeah, thank you. I don't want to get used to that kind of treatment,
Don't let me push you. This is painful to watch.
My arms are getting all good pumped. There we go. Right, it is all downhill from here. Actually, it is. I can kind of float.
Yeah, no, right.
think the tires are out of balance. Hey brother, what's happening?
How's it going, Jason?
How was the trip?
It was easy. Little wind shear right there at the end, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Jason, Simon, pleased to meet you.
Jason, good to meet you guys. Good to meet you. Man, this thing has some long legs.
Yep. So it's a 9-cylinder radial, 360 horsepower. It's supercharged.
That is so cool. So I guess if you got to do a valve job, man, this thing is going to take you a while.
Yep. The propeller has about an 8-foot diameter, and it's wood with fiberglass coverings. And these are all nickel leading edge pieces. The Soviets did this. So the landing gear don't physically completely retract.
Okay.
They just kind of come up and lock in these hooks.
Okay.
So if they had a gear up landing, they would just snap the prop off. They jack the airplane up, put the gear down, put a new prop on it, take it back off.
Wow. So no prop AD on this then, is what you're
Nope.
saying. No prop strike AD, just throw another one.
It's an experimental engine in the US. There's no TC for it. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm thinking we might have to get one of these.
Yeah.
It's not bad. How many hours do you have in that?
I've got about 110 hours total time in that since I bought it
Okay.
2 years ago. I flew all the way to Florida and back, and it's going to Oshkosh this year.
Sweet.
In 2 weeks, I'm putting it down for annual, doing full front and rear panel upgrades,
Okay.
new avionics. It's going to be sweet. We're going to pull
Wow.
about 200 pounds of old Soviet equipment out of the airplane. So yeah, these are the Ep11, so it's a former French trainer. Our group, we've been importing these for the last 4 years. The French military completely got out of their, retired their whole fleet, mothballed some airplanes, other ones went to auction. So all these airplanes were stripped apart in France, put in Connex boxes, put on a container ship, and brought over. And then we spent Simon, 2-3 months putting them together? Yeah.
So are there any left in boxes is what I'm kind of
No,
curious about.
there's, the only folks are still running them now are the Togolese Air Force. They've got a couple still left flying, and Portuguese use them as their primary trainer.
Okay.
But the French are all now. They've also, I mean, there are a few kicking around in museums and stuff like that might crop up one or two here and there. But this is almost 45 in the US now. I think, on the registry.
Wow.
Yeah, 45,
So
48.
so what will one of these sell for being imported and put back together and flyable?
Depends which month this is going out. They've been appreciating pretty heavily.
Okay.
Yeah, with everything else, but I think they've done pretty well. But now, you're looking at high 200s for one of these, just stock out of the Air Force without any upgrades.
These are really cool. I'm gonna look these up because I wouldn't mind having one. I don't know how I'm gonna get one though if you said they're all gone, but I'm gonna try to figure it out.
They pop up for sale here and there.
Yeah, awesome. Let's go up here and check out the 401. Yeah, so here is the hangar, and it's pretty full right now. I don't know how much you guys have seen, but there's the Austin and the Jeep CJ.
That's the one the guy rolled upside down.
Yeah.
I saw your video on that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of them in the queue for being rebuilt. We're gonna rebuild that one, and when it's done, we're gonna auction it off. And it'll go towards just funds for rebuild rescue charities, where it'll help to continue to fund the 401 and even fuel for it when we start doing angel flights and stuff. So, and then this one here, the Austin, we're going to rebuild, and that gets given away. This one's actually really solid for what it is. So this will make someone a really fun car. No, and this is the 401 back here. We're actually working on just getting the struts filled, checking them out, see how bad they leak. The tires are really dry cracked, so I don't think I would trust them.
Yeah, it's good enough taxi around with.
Right. A taxi tire. Yeah, our plans, like I said, we do want to get it taxiing. I think it's a little bit of a personal thing I had. It was a vision that I wanted to be able to get it to before we pulled it apart.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a taxi test's not a bad idea. That's going to tell you a lot about it. Other stuff that otherwise you put it all back together and then find out that there's something else you could have done while everything was in part.
I think you rescued this airplane just in time. I think if it sat outside any longer, it'd probably be beyond economical repair.
Yeah, well, and I think economical repair and emotional repair, I think are two different things at this point. But we're we're going to make it happen. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time.
Sure.
But we have so many people that are behind it. So we're really excited about it.
You know, I'm not a 401 guru, but I'm just looking at, you know, a few areas that look like they were, you know, really weathered and exposed. And surprised, for the Northeast, we're kind of lucky here that we're not super close to the water, but you can still get a lot of corrosion. But the corrosion's not as bad as I thought it was. So a lot of these pieces and parts you can probably just clean up with Scotch-Brite and abrasives and let it continue in service. So I think definitely caught the airplane at the right time.
No, it really is a really solid platform. You know, and it's just getting the spar straps done, you know, getting, you know, all the new cables in. The rudder needs replaced because it got hit with a wrench that flew off a helicopter, from what I understand. So.
See this here? This is what I was thinking.
The whole
when I
thing
got
would look
close,
like.
The whole airplane would be like that, but if there's any A&Ps watching, there's not a lot of corrosion on this airplane. It's very clean for sitting outside as long as it did. I'm very surprised. I've seen a lot of wrecks from South America and Florida, and this is remarkably clean for as long as it was idle. But this is what you would see
Yeah, I know.
everywhere.
So a lot of viewers are APs, you know, and I think.
I'm sure the comments are great.
Well, and I think being around all kinds of different type of mechanical repair, I owned body shops, stuff like that. What I think of when I think of like an abandoned airplane, when I would go over it, I thought for sure when I really looked at it close that it was going to be, you know, so far gone. Maybe we'd start it and use it for parts, but I don't know. It's not. There's not a ton of corrosion. It's really solid platform. It's a really solid platform.
Was the airplane grounded for the wing spar strap? Is that why it stopped flying?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's actually our biggest challenge with the 401. It's not you know, overhauling the engines. It's not overhauling turbos or doing the fuel systems or avionics or just any of that stuff. It's the spar strap job. I mean, it's a 500-hour job. You fully understand. For me, it'd probably be a 1,000-hour job. So, but that's why we get we got to get the wings off and get them to a shop that's all they do. Yeah, go ahead and check it out.
Great, thanks. I mean, you can definitely tell Sam spent some money when this thing was up and running between the engine monitor and the Avidyne. So, you know, my background, I was an avionics installer for about the first 8 to 9 years of my career.
Okay.
And then I was also doing engineering, and I was an A&P too, but like just had a really like started out on the electrical and the avionics side. So like that's always my like bread and butter what I get back to. So I love getting involved in cockpit layouts and instruments and upgrades and stuff like that. And this is actually pretty well. I mean, besides the airplane sitting for so long, I mean, if this thing was just out on the ramp and everything worked, it's still a well-equipped airplane. Yeah, this is a great project, though. I mean, definitely saved it. I actually like the chronometers on the that's so cool. The way when these things sit out on the ramp and die, it's terrible, but you're doing the right thing by getting it in the hangar, tearing it apart. You're gonna do all the work that needs to be done and get it back in the air, and that's where this airplane belongs. It belongs to somebody who can get it in the air and do some cool stuff with it. So.
Absolutely, and that's our goal, and I know it's became the goal of the community. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate you guys reaching out.
Yeah.
You know, and coming up and flying those awesome airplanes up here.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's one of these days, not in any foreseeable future, because we got a lot of projects to finish. One of these days, I'm going to have to get one of those for myself and restore one. So
We'll take you up in one when the knee is facilitating.
yeah, I heard about something about upside down flying and stuff. So I think after this is healed, I think I might want to go check that out. So, and I mean, you guys, you're more than welcome to come. I'd love to have you guys here because, like I said, we need all the help we can get. And you know, it's all about community and it's all about the project. It's all about the 401. So
Yeah, we'd really like to put a crew together, and we'll, at the minimum, we're at least going to come up here. We're going to help get the engines off, the wings taken off when we're ready, help you taxi the airplane, anything you need like that. We definitely want to be involved, and it's nice to be involved with a charity. And we're part of the Red Star Pilots Association, and
awesome.
You know,
Thank you so much.
It's a community. So.
Absolutely. No, that's cool. Awesome. Sounds good, guys. Thank you so much for coming. It's awesome. I'm feeling really good about it. So.
Great.
Wait, you guys have parachutes? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you can do when you're doing aerobatics or formation.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Yeah, so these are paraphernalia seat chutes. And you have to have them, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but you have to have them repacked every 6 months.
Okay. So when you say aerobatics, you mean like rolls and flips and stuff?
Yeah, and loops and
Wow.
spins. That'll come through, yeah.
How did you feel when he said you had to put on a parachute today?
I think you're a little bit worried.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like the videos, turn on your notifications so you see all the cool projects that we're going to be bringing right to you guys.